The waiter felt deep empathy for a young beggar girl, allowing her to sing for food in the restaurant. When the boss arrived, the city was just beginning to bask in the warm, golden glow of the morning sun. Alejandro Morales, with a heart full of pride and anticipation, opened the doors of Harmony, a gem nestled in a prime corner of the bustling city. This restaurant was renowned not only for its delectable cuisine, but also for its unwavering commitment to art and music. Inside, the walls were adorned with vibrant paintings created by local artists, and a cozy platform in the corner transformed into a stage for musicians during the enchanting dinner hours. Alejandro, a middle-aged man whose commanding presence was softened by a deep love for the arts, walked to his office with a determined stride. Despite the early hour, the restaurant was already alive with the buzz of employees diligently preparing for the day ahead. He greeted each one with a warm nod, receiving genuine smiles and respectful greetings in return. Once in his office, Alejandro settled behind his large mahogany desk, surrounded by a sea of papers and multiple computer monitors displaying ever-changing graphs and numbers. The day promised to be long and demanding. The restaurant was on the brink of launching an innovative new menu, and the peak tourist season was just around the corner. However, his morning routine was pleasantly disrupted by the ring of his mobile phone. Glancing at the screen, he saw it was Carlos, a childhood friend who now owned a prestigious art gallery in the same city. Alejandro answered with a smile, anticipating a lively conversation about business or art. "Alejandro, you have to tell me your secret," Carlos exclaimed with infectious enthusiasm the moment Alejandro answered. "Secret? What are you talking about?" Carlos Alejandro replied, puzzled but entertained by his friend's exuberance. "The singer, Alejandro, the singer at Harmony. I heard her last night, and her voice is absolutely divine. Since when do you hire such extraordinary talent without giving me a heads up so I can experience it firsthand?" Alejandro's brow furrowed in confusion as he mentally reviewed the recent hires and events at the restaurant. He couldn't recall approving any new artists recently, let alone a singer capable of leaving such a profound impression on Carlos. This unexpected turn of events filled Alejandro with a mix of curiosity and excitement. The restaurant, already a haven for culinary and artistic excellence, now seemed to be hiding an unexpected gem. He couldn't wait to uncover the story behind this mysterious singer whose voice had the power to captivate and enchant. "Carlos, I think there's a mistake. I haven't hired any singer recently." "Are you sure you were at Harmony?" Alejandro replied, his voice tinged with disbelief. "Absolutely sure, my friend. I was there with Julia. We were both amazed. You should check it out. She could really be a great addition to your already impressive lineup of artists," Carlos insisted. Alejandro's curiosity was piqued. Hanging up the phone, he felt a mix of confusion and growing intrigue. Determined to get to the bottom of this mystery, he stood up, adjusted his suit with a practiced gesture, and left his office to investigate what was happening in his own restaurant. The previous day had started as a cool and clear morning. Sergio and Mariela arrived together at Harmony, as was their routine every morning. Mariela, holding her usual cup of coffee, chatted animatedly about the reservations from the night before, while Sergio, more reserved but equally attentive, nodded and added notes to his digital agenda. As they approached the restaurant entrance, they were taken aback by the sight of a small, huddled figure sitting on the steps. It was a girl, no older than 10, with worn clothes and a face marked by fatigue and despair. "Can I help you with something?" Mariela asked cautiously, her professional tone unable to completely mask her concern. The girl looked up, her large, expressive eyes meeting Mariela and Sergio's. She stood up with effort, clutching a small backpack against her chest. "My name is Valeria," she said in a trembling voice. "I'm looking for a job. I have nowhere to live, and I need to buy food for me and my mom." Sergio and Mariela exchanged a quick glance, The Harmony restaurant was renowned for its elegance and exclusive clientele. The presence of a begging girl was neither usual nor easy to handle. Despite this, Sergio's heart softened. "What can you do?" he asked gently. Valeria's eyes lit up with a glimmer of hope. "I can sing," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please let me sing for some food." Mariella, moved by the girl's plight and bravery, nodded. "All right, Valeria, you can sing here for food," she said, her voice kind but firm. The morning progressed, and as Valeria's sweet voice filled the restaurant, the staff and early diners were captivated. Word of her talent spread quickly, and by the time Alejandro arrived, the air was thick with curiosity and admiration for the young girl. As Alejandro walked through the restaurant, he could hear the soft hum of conversation and the story of the beggar girl who sang for her supper. With a determined stride, he approached the dining area where Valeria was finishing a song. Her voice was indeed angelic, and it struck a chord deep within him. He watched as the girl finished her song, her eyes searching the faces of the audience for approval. The room erupted in applause, and for the first time in a long while, Alejandro felt a warmth spread through his heart. Approaching Valeria, he knelt down to her level. "You have a beautiful voice, Valeria," he said softly. "How would you like to sing here at Harmony regularly?" Tears welled up in Valeria's eyes, and she nodded vigorously. "Yes, please." "Thank you so much," she whispered. Alejandro smiled warmly. "Consider it done. Welcome to the Harmony family," he said, feeling an unexpected surge of joy. As he stood up, he realized that this encounter had not only brought a new talent to his restaurant, but it also reminded him of the power of compassion and the unexpected ways it could change lives. "Valeria, how old are you?" "Where are your parents?" asked Sergio, his tone gentle, aiming to make her feel safe. "I'm 10 years old. My mom is in the hospital, and I don't have a dad," Valeria explained, her eyes beginning to brim with tears. Mariella felt a sharp pang in her heart, seeing the girl's vulnerability. She knew they couldn't turn a blind eye to her plight, but she was also aware of the potential implications for the business. "Let's talk for a moment, Valeria." "Please wait here," Mariella said, pointing to a more comfortable spot for the girl to sit. Stepping aside, Sergio and Mariella discussed in hushed tones. Mariella voiced her concerns about the restaurant's image, while Sergio, moved by the girl's story, proposed an alternative solution. "Mariella, what if she has a talent we can use? We don't have to offer her a permanent job, but if she can contribute artistically, maybe sing, we could consider giving her a temporary opportunity," suggested Sergio thoughtfully. Mariella hesitated, but compassion eventually overcame her initial reluctance. "All right, let's talk to her and see what she can do," she conceded, still not completely convinced but willing to explore the option. They returned to Valeria, who looked at them with a mix of hope and fear. "Valeria, you mentioned you need to buy food. Do you have any skills or talents, something you think you could do here at Harmony?" asked Sergio, kneeling to her level. Valeria's eyes sparkled momentarily. "Yes, I can sing. My grandmother taught me many songs before she left." Sergio and Mariella exchanged a glance, this time with a spark of possibility in their eyes. "Well, let's do a test," said Sergio, helping Valeria to stand up. "If the customers enjoy your music tonight, we'll talk about giving you food in exchange for singing a few nights a week." Valeria's face lit up with a grateful smile, and for a moment her situation seemed a bit less desperate. As the afternoon progressed and Harmony began to fill with the first diners of the evening, Valeria was in a small back room of the restaurant, sitting in front of a full-length mirror. Sergio had found more suitable clothes for her, a simple but nice dress and shoes that were just a bit too big for her small feet. Mariella, still wearing a worried expression, watched as Sergio tried to comb Valeria's tangled hair. She couldn't help but feel the pressure of her decision. The restaurant had built its reputation not only on the quality of its food, but also on the atmosphere and overall experience. Introducing a child, a complete novice, was a risk. "Sergio, are you sure about this?" Mariella asked, crossing her arms as she watched Valeria's reflection in the mirror. "Mariella, look, I'm not 100% sure, but something tells me we should do this. Besides, it's just for one night. If it doesn't work, at least we know we tried to help," replied Sergio, offering Valeria a reassuring smile through the mirror. Valeria, catching the essence of their conversation, felt a knot in her stomach. She knew this was her chance not just to eat that night, but to maybe change her situation more permanently. She took a deep breath and decided she wouldn't let fear dominate her. "I can do it," she said with more confidence than she actually felt. "I know I can sing. My grandmother always said I had a voice to heal hearts." Mariella looked at the girl, impacted by her determination. Something in Valeria's words and the way she spoke softened Mariella's heart. She decided that, at least for that night, she would support this decision. "All right," Valeria said, Mariella, finally smiling. "We're going to give you this opportunity, but let's do some rehearsal first. Can you show us what you plan to sing?" Valeria nodded, taking a deep breath. She stood up and began to sing, her voice filling the small room with a melody so pure and heartfelt that it brought tears to Mariella's eyes. Sergio watched in awe, feeling a lump in his throat. It was clear that Valeria's voice was something special. When Valeria finished, Mariella and Sergio exchanged glances, both moved by what they had just heard. "You have a beautiful voice," Valeria Mariella said softly. "We believe in you. Let's get ready for tonight." That evening, as the restaurant filled with guests, Valeria stood nervously on the small stage. The lights dimmed, and the room fell silent. With a deep breath, Valeria began to sing. Her voice soared through the room, captivating every person in the audience. The diners listened in rapt attention, and when she finished, the room erupted in applause. Alejandro, who had been watching from the back of the room, felt a profound sense of pride and joy. He knew he had discovered something truly special. Valeria's performance was not just a success, it was a moment of pure magic that touched everyone's hearts. As the applause died down, Alejandro approached Valeria with a warm smile. "You were wonderful, Valeria. How would you like to sing here regularly?" Tears of joy filled Valeria's eyes as she nodded. "Yes, please. Thank you so much." And so Valeria became a beloved part of Harmony, her voice bringing hope and joy to all who heard it. Alejandro, Sergio, and Mariella knew they had made the right decision, one that had changed not only Valeria's life but their own as well. Valeria nodded enthusiastically and followed Sergio to a quiet part of the restaurant where they wouldn't disturb the customers. Sergio brought out an old guitar that the musicians sometimes used and handed it to Valeria. "My grandmother taught me some traditional songs. They are beautiful," explained Valeria as she tuned the guitar with surprising skill for her age. The first chords floated in the air, and even though it was just a rehearsal, the purity of Valeria's voice filled the room. Mariella and Sergio exchanged glances, both taken aback. Valeria's voice was clear, emotional, and carried a depth that seemed impossible for someone so young. With each note, the worry in Mariella's eyes diminished. By the end of the song, she was not only convinced they had made the right decision, but also felt a deep emotion, a premonition that something special was about to happen at Harmony that night. "All right," Valeria said, Sergio, discreetly wiping away a tear. "It's time to get ready. Tonight, you're going to be the star." As the afternoon gave way to evening, the soft lights of Harmony bathed the restaurant in a welcoming glow. The customers, a mix of regulars and tourists drawn by the establishment's reputation, filled the tables, enjoying their meals and lively conversations. In the dressing room, Valeria looked at herself in the mirror. The girl she had seen that morning, disheveled and desperate, had been transformed. She wore a light blue dress that highlighted her eyes and her hair, now clean and styled in soft waves, thanks to Mariella, who had decided to take a more active role in supporting the young girl. "Valeria, you look very pretty," said Mariella, smiling through the mirror. "How do you feel?" "A little nervous but excited," replied Valeria, her voice barely a whisper. "It's normal to be nervous, but remember, we are all here to support you." Mariella placed her hands on Valeria's shoulders, offering a calming presence. Outside the dressing room, Sergio approached the small stage that served as a platform. He took the microphone to make an announcement before Valeria's performance. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a very special surprise for you. A young and talented singer will be with us. Please give a warm welcome to Valeria." The murmur of conversations diminished as attention turned to the stage. Valeria, taking a deep breath, walked toward the spotlight. Her hands trembled slightly as she took the guitar Sergio had prepared for her. The first notes floated in the air, timid at first, but gaining confidence with each chord. Then her voice rose, clearer and more powerful than her fragile appearance suggested. She sang a traditional ballad, a song her grandmother had taught her, filled with emotion and nostalgia. The customers watched, some surprised, others captivated by the purity of her voice. As Valeria immersed herself in the music, her initial nervousness faded, replaced by an expression of passion and dedication. At the end of the song, a brief moment of silence enveloped the restaurant, as if the audience needed time to process what they had just heard. Then the silence broke with spontaneous and thunderous applause. The diners began to clap, some standing, moved by the performance. Mariella, watching from the sidelines, felt overwhelmed by emotion. She had doubted, feared that Valeria's presence might somehow diminish Harmony's reputation. But now, seeing the customers' reaction, she knew they had done something special, something memorable. "You did incredible," Valeria said Sergio, approaching her as the applause continued. "I'm so proud of you." Valeria, with tears in her eyes, looked at the crowd and then at Sergio and Mariella. At that moment, she felt grateful and hopeful. Perhaps, just maybe, this could be the new direction her life needed. The euphoria of the applause still resonated in Valeria's ears as she left the stage. She had felt the warmth of the spotlights, but more than that, she had felt the warmth of the audience's appreciation, something she had never experienced in her life. Mariella and Sergio awaited her behind the stage, both with smiles radiating pride and satisfaction. "Valeria, that was simply wonderful," said Mariella, clearly emotional, extending her arms to hug the girl. "Did you see their faces?" interrupted Sergio, his voice filled with enthusiasm. "They were completely captivated. I think we've just found our new star." The rest of the night felt like a dream for Valeria. She was invited to sing twice more, and each performance was received with equal, if not greater, enthusiasm. Customers approached her between songs to congratulate her and ask about her next show. Sergio and Mariella managed the interactions, ensuring Valeria didn't feel overwhelmed. At the end of the night, as Harmony closed and the last customers said goodbye, Alejandro Morales entered the restaurant. He had received another call from Carlos, who insisted he shouldn't miss the opportunity to hear the young singer causing such a sensation. "So, who is this prodigious singer Carlos keeps talking about?" asked Alejandro with a mix of curiosity and skepticism as he approached Sergio and Mariella. "It's Valeria," Sergio replied, his face lighting up. "You have to hear her to believe it. She's absolutely amazing." Alejandro raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Well, let's not waste any time then. Valeria, would you mind giving us one more song?" Valeria, still riding the high of her successful performances, nodded eagerly. She picked up the guitar once more, and began to sing. Her voice, even in the quiet of the near-empty restaurant, was just as captivating. Alejandro listened, his skepticism melting away with each note. By the time Valeria finished, he was smiling broadly. "Valeria, you are truly gifted," Alejandro said, his voice full of admiration. "We would be honored to have you sing here regularly." Tears of joy filled Valeria's eyes once again. "Thank you, Mr. Morales. This means so much to me." And so Valeria became a beloved part of Harmony, her voice bringing hope and joy to all who heard it. Alejandro, Sergio, and Mariela knew they had made the right decision, one that had changed not only Valeria's life but their own as well. Harmony had not just gained a new star, it had gained a new heart. "It's her," Valeria replied Mariela, pointing to the girl who was picking up the guitar from the stage. Alejandro observed Valeria, her small stature dramatically contrasting with the enormous impression she had left on the customers that night. He approached her, extending his hand in greeting. "Hello, Valeria. I'm Alejandro, the owner of Harmony. I've heard incredible things about you tonight. How do you feel after your first performance here?" Valeria, still riding the wave of adrenaline from the applause and attention, smiled shyly but confidently. "I feel happy, sir. Very happy to have sung for everyone," she replied, her voice still vibrant with the night's emotion. "Well, it seems you've touched many hearts tonight. I'd like to talk to you and your guardians about the possibility of you continuing to perform here," said Alejandro, his business tone softened by the genuine smile Valeria had provoked. The news that she could continue singing at Harmony filled Valeria with overwhelming joy. Not only had she found a place where she could contribute and earn something in return, but she had also found something that felt like a purpose, a small light of hope in her complicated life. As Alejandro discussed the details with Sergio and Mariela, Valeria allowed herself to daydream for a moment about what the future might hold for her. She didn't know how long it would last, but she was determined to make the most of every opportunity. After the unexpected success of that night, Valeria became the topic of conversation among the staff and regular customers of Harmony. Although she had returned to her daily life, the excitement of that moment remained vibrant in her memory. Meanwhile, Alejandro, intrigued by the stories he was hearing in Carlos's insistent calls, decided it was time to see for himself what was happening in his restaurant. One Thursday afternoon, Alejandro adjusted his schedule to make an unannounced visit to Harmony. He wanted to observe discreetly to get an unfiltered impression of the new attraction that, according to all reports, was revitalizing the night scene at the place. Upon arrival, he mingled with the customers, choosing a table in a corner from where he could clearly see the stage without drawing too much attention to himself. He immediately noticed the buzz of anticipation among the diners. Clearly, the news of the young singer had attracted more than a few curious and music enthusiasts. When Valeria took the stage that night, Alejandro saw the transformation, not only in the atmosphere but in the girl herself. Dressed in a simple white dress, with her hair carefully styled, Valeria looked like a young professional but surprisingly competent. Taking the guitar, she began to play the first notes of a popular Mexican song, her voice rising clear and pure above the restaurant's conversations. As she sang, Alejandro observed how the room quieted down. Customers stopped talking to listen, captivated by the emotion and beauty of her singing. Valeria's performance that night was impeccable. With each song, she won more of the audience's hearts, and with each round of applause, her confidence grew. Alejandro, from his observing corner, felt a mixture of astonishment and a vague recognition he couldn't place. There was something in Valeria's voice, in her delivery, that touched him in a deeply personal way. At the end of the performance, as applause filled the air and Valeria bowed shyly but proudly, Alejandro stood up. His decision was made. He walked directly towards Sergio and Mariela, who were supervising the night's closure. "Sergio, Mariela, "We need to talk about Valeria," said Alejandro, his voice carrying a calm but firm urgency. "Of course, Alejandro," replied Mariela, exchanging a glance with Sergio that reflected a mix of nervousness and expectation. "I want Valeria to become a regular presence here at Harmony. What I've seen tonight is not only good for our business, but it's something special, and I think we can do something important for this girl," explained Alejandro, his tone that of someone who had seen an opportunity not only for mutual benefit but for true impact. "I agree," said Sergio, relieved and excited. "She has a gift, and it would be an honor for us to help her develop it." With that decision, an important chapter in Valeria's life closed, and another filled with possibilities began. Alejandro stayed a while longer, reflecting on how life sometimes takes unexpected turns, and those paths often prove to be the most worthwhile. The decision was made, and as Alejandro drove home that night, his mind couldn't stop thinking about Valeria. Something in the girl's voice had awakened memories he had kept in a forgotten corner of his heart. He remembered a similar voice, one that had deeply moved him many years ago during a simpler time in his life. Almost 2 decades ago, Alejandro had traveled to the Sierra of Oaxaca for an investment project in rural communities. There, in the tranquility of the mountains and the simplicity of rural life, he had met Isabel, a young local woman with an angelic voice who sang at village festivals. They had shared brief moments together, exchanging stories and songs under the stars. Alejandro had promised to return, whispered promises that, due to life circumstances, he never fulfilled. Upon arriving home, Alejandro went straight to his study, a place filled with memories and old photographs. He searched through a drawer until he found what he knew was there, a small audio recording, a memory of those nights in Oaxaca. He played it on the old player and closed his eyes, letting Isabel's voice fill the room. The similarity between the voice in the recording and Valeria was astonishing. It wasn't just the quality of their tones, but the raw, pure emotion they conveyed. Alejandro felt a mixture of nostalgia and guilt, a remorse for the paths he had chosen and the promises he had not kept. The next morning, Alejandro arrived early at Harmony. He looked for Valeria, who was already there practicing with her guitar. He approached her, this time with a more thoughtful look. "Valeria, you sang wonderfully last night. You reminded me of someone I met a long time ago," Alejandro began, his voice soft but serious. "May I ask you about your family, especially about your mother?" Valeria looked up, surprised by the question, but something in Alejandro's seriousness made her feel safe to open up. "My mother's name is Isabel. She also sings, or used to sing. Now she's sick and can't work. We moved here to try to get treatment for her, but it's been very difficult," Valeria explained, her eyes showing a hint of sadness. Valeria's words hit Alejandro like lightning. Isabel, it couldn't be a coincidence. Alejandro's world paused for a moment as the pieces of the puzzle began to fit together in ways he had never anticipated. "Valeria, do you think you could take me to see your mother?" Alejandro asked, his voice filled with an urgency he didn't want to explain just yet. Valeria nodded, curious and a bit cautious about the intensity of the request. They agreed to go to the hospital together that afternoon after Valeria finished her practice. As Valeria returned to her guitar, Alejandro withdrew to his office, his mind overwhelmed with emotions. He was about to close a circle that had begun many years ago, and the uncertainty of what he would find filled him with as much fear as hope. The afternoon was turning into evening when Alejandro and Valeria arrived at the hospital where Isabel was admitted. The public hospital was crowded, and the hustle and bustle were constant, reflecting the daily struggle of so many families seeking medical care in an overburdened system. Alejandro felt a tightness in his chest as he followed Valeria down the corridors, passing nurses and hurried doctors. The antiseptic smell of the place brought back memories of his last hospital visit years ago in much less somber circumstances. They arrived at a room at the end of a long hallway. Valeria paused at the door, taking a deep breath before entering. Alejandro stood behind her, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and nerves. "Mom, I brought someone who wants to meet you," said Valeria softly as she entered. Isabel was lying in bed, looking fragile but serene. Hearing her daughter's voice, her eyes lit up with a mix of joy and surprise. Seeing Alejandro, however, her expression shifted to one of confusion. "Good afternoon, Isabel. My name is Alejandro Morales. I've had the pleasure of hearing your daughter sing at my restaurant," Harmony began Alejandro, attempting a tone of calm and respect. Isabel observed him carefully, as if trying to connect fragments of a distant memory. "Alejandro Morales," she whispered, her voice weak. Then, with more strength, she added, "The same Alejandro who visited my village many years ago." Alejandro nodded, feeling how the past and present were beginning to intertwine in ways he had never imagined. "Yes, Isabel, it's me. I've thought a lot about those days since I heard Valeria sing." Her voice brought back memories of you, of your voice. Isabel closed her eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath. "I never thought I would see you again," said Isabel, a tear sliding down her cheek. "After you left, life changed a lot. Eventually, I had to leave the village with Valeria. Life here has been hard." Alejandro sat in the chair next to the bed, his mind struggling with the emotions and revelations from Isabel. "I'm so sorry for not coming back, Isabel. I got caught up in life, in business, but I never forgot those days. And now, with Valeria, I'd like to do something to help in any way I can," said Alejandro, his voice filled with sincere remorse. Isabel looked at him and, after a long moment, nodded slowly. "Valeria has told me a lot about harmony and how music is helping heal her heart. Maybe in some way this is a second chance for us." Alejandro took Isabel's hand, a gesture of connection and promise. "I'll do everything I can to support Valeria and you. We'll start by ensuring you get the best medical care possible. Valeria deserves to have her mother by her side, strong and healthy." With those words, a new relationship began to forge between Alejandro, Isabel, and Valeria, based on the past but looking towards an uncertain yet hopeful future. Valeria, watching from the doorway, felt a mix of hope and wonder at the unexpected connection unfolding before her. After their visit to the hospital, Alejandro moved quickly to ensure Isabel received the best medical care possible. Using his contacts and resources, he arranged for her transfer to a private clinic where they could offer more advanced and comfortable treatments. As Isabel began her treatment, Valeria and Alejandro spent more time together, strengthening their bond through music and deep conversations about life and its challenges. Valeria continued performing at Harmony, and each night her confidence on stage grew. People now came not only for the food and atmosphere of the restaurant, but also to hear the young singer whose story was starting to spread throughout the city. One afternoon, after a visit to the hospital to see Isabel, Alejandro took Valeria to a nearby park. He wanted to talk to her about the changes that were happening and what they meant for both of them. "Valeria, how do you feel about everything that's happening?" Alejandro asked as they sat on a bench under the shade of a large tree. "I feel grateful and a little scared," Valeria admitted, watching the children play nearby. "Everything has changed so quickly." "It's understandable," said Alejandro, nodding. "But I want you to know that I'm here for you and your mother, not just now, but in the future too. I want to help you continue developing your talent and make sure you have the opportunities you deserve." Valeria looked at him, her eyes filled with a mix of surprise and gratitude. "Thank you, Alejandro. I don't know how to thank you for everything you're doing for us." "Helping you is something that makes me happy, Valeria, and I want to talk about something else. If you agree, I'd like to formalize my support. What would you think if I offered you a scholarship to study music formally?" Alejandro proposed, watching Valeria's reaction carefully, The young girl was speechless for a moment. The idea of studying music formally was something she had never considered possible. Really? Could I really do that, she asked, her voice trembling with emotion. Yes, really. I believe you have a special gift, and it would be an honor for me to help you develop it, replied Alessandro with a warm smile. Valeria nodded, tears shining in her eyes as emotion overwhelmed her. Yes, I'd love that. Thank you, Alessandro. Thank you for believing in me. That afternoon in the park, Alejandro and Valeria planned the future, discussing possible music schools and what Valeria would need for her new adventure. Alejandro promised to support her every step of the way, ensuring Isabel was informed and agreed with every decision. The reunion and the promise of a better future strengthened the bond between Alejandro and Valeria, a bond that had begun with music and now deepened with shared promises and hopes. As they returned from the park, Valeria felt inspired and confident, knowing she had the support of someone who not only valued her talent, but also cared deeply about her and her mother's well-being. With Isabel now receiving quality medical care and starting to show signs of improvement, the atmosphere around Valeria and Alessandro became less tense and more hopeful. Relieved by Isabel's progress, Alejandro dedicated more time to planning Valeria's educational future and integrating her even more into the Harmony community. One afternoon, while Valeria practiced on the restaurant stage, Alejandro sat at a nearby table, observing her with a mixture of admiration and paternal affection. Valeria's voice filled the space, each note reflecting the growth and maturity she had gained in the past weeks. Valeria, you are progressing incredibly well, commented Alejandro, clapping softly when she finished her song. I'm thinking we could organize a small concert for you right here so you can showcase your talent to a broader audience. Valeria lowered the guitar, her face lighting up with excitement. A concert for me, her eyes sparkled with the possibility. Yes, a concert for you. I think it's an excellent way to celebrate your development and also an opportunity for people to see how much you've grown as an artist, explained Alejandro. Meanwhile, at the clinic, Isabel was also facing her own adjustments. Her improved health allowed her to be more active, and although she still needed plenty of rest, she began to participate more in her recovery. During one of Alejandro and Valeria's visits, Isabel shared her gratitude and new hopes. Alejandro, I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done for me, and Valeria said Isabel, her voice still weak but full of emotion. Seeing Valeria so happy and with so many opportunities, it's more than I ever could have imagined for her. Isabel, your well-being and Valeria are the most important things to me now. Everything I do is because I believe in you and your future, Alejandro replied sincerely. Back at Harmony, preparations for Valeria's concert began. Sergio and Mariela got actively involved, helping organize everything from promotion to event logistics. The local community, already fond of Valeria and her story, responded enthusiastically, and reservations for the concert night quickly filled up. The night before the concert, Valeria couldn't sleep. The mix of nerves and excitement was overwhelming. She got out of bed and sat by the window, looking at the stars. She remembered the nights in her village when she sang under the starlit sky with her grandmother. Those memories, combined with the present opportunities, filled her heart with a silent song of gratitude and determination. Tomorrow is a big day, Grandma, she whispered to the night wind. And I'm going to do it well, for Mom, for Alejandro, and for me. The day of the concert had arrived, and Harmony was vibrant with an energy of anticipation and festivity. The restaurant had been specially decorated for the occasion, with fresh flowers on each table and soft lights that gave the place a magical atmosphere. The stage was set at the front, with lighting that promised to put Valeria at the center of all attention. From early on, guests began to arrive, filling the space with a murmur of expectation and warm greetings. Among them were family, friends, regulars at the restaurant, and some new faces drawn by Valeria's story and the event promotion. Alejandro, Sergio, and Mariela welcomed the guests while Valeria prepared in the dressing room. Alejandro approached Valeria minutes before the concert was set to begin. He found her in front of the mirror, adjusting her dress and practicing some vocal scales. "You're ready, Valeria. Tonight is a reflection of everything you've achieved and how far you've come," said Alejandro, offering her a reassuring smile. Valeria looked at Alejandro through the mirror and nodded, feeling a whirlwind of emotion. "Thank you, Alejandro. Without you and everyone here, none of this would be possible," she responded, her voice filled with gratitude. When the moment arrived, the stage lights softened and the background music faded. Sergio took the microphone to introduce Valeria. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this special night at Harmony. We are very proud to present someone who has become a beloved part of our family. Please give a warm welcome to Valeria." The applause was deafening as Valeria stepped onto the stage, her initial nervousness fading as she felt the support and affection from the audience. She began her performance with a song she had practiced for weeks, a melody that spoke of hope and dreams. With each song, Valeria gave herself more to the moment, her voice resonating in harmony, touching the hearts of everyone present. Alejandro watched from the back, emotional and proud to see Valeria shine. Among the audience, Isabel, who had been brought to the event in a wheelchair, watched her daughter with tears of happiness. Her recovery had progressed enough to allow her to be present, and she couldn't have been more grateful for the opportunity to see Valeria in her element. At the end of the concert, Valeria closed with a powerful rendition of Gracious a la Vida, dedicating it to her mother and Alejandro. The audience stood up, clapping and cheering, filling the space with an energy of celebration and admiration. After the concert, as the guests mingled and congratulated Valeria, Alejandro approached Isabel. Together, they shared a look of mutual recognition for everything that had been overcome and all that was yet to come. "I promised to support Valeria, and tonight has shown that together we can achieve great things," said Alejandro as they watched Valeria, surrounded by friends and admirers. Isabel nodded, taking Alejandro's hand firmly. "Thank you, Alejandro, for everything. Tonight is just the beginning for her, I know." The night concluded with promises of future events and the certainty that Valeria had not only found her voice but also a community and a family at Harmony that would support her every step of the way. After the exciting success of the concert, Valeria's life began to take a new direction. Not only had she gained confidence in her ability to captivate an audience, but she had also received several offers to perform at other local events. Alejandro, always attentive and considerate, helped manage these opportunities, ensuring Valeria did not feel overwhelmed and that her musical education was not compromised. Alejandro organized a meeting at Harmony, inviting Isabel, Valeria, and several esteemed music instructors to discuss Valeria's educational prospects. The gathering was fruitful, leading to the decision that Valeria would commence formal music education at a prestigious local academy, with a scholarship generously funded by Alejandro. "Valeria, this marks the beginning of your musical odyssey. These classes will hone your skills and unveil new dimensions of your artistry," Alejandro said, observing Valeria's face light up with a blend of excitement and apprehension. "Thank you, Alejandro. I can't imagine navigating this journey without your unwavering support," Valeria responded, her voice and eyes brimming with sincere gratitude. Isabel, showing promising signs of recovery thanks to superior medical care, became more involved in Valeria's life. Though still limited in her activities, her emotional support in crucial decisions was invaluable to Valeria. "I'm immensely proud of you, my darling, and eternally grateful for Alejandro's kindness and generosity," Isabel expressed, clutching Alejandro's hand with heartfelt appreciation. As Valeria embarked on her classes, she found herself torn between her passion for music and her desire to care for her mother at home. The staff at Harmony and Alejandro extended their support, becoming an extended family to her. One evening, after her classes, Valeria returned to Harmony to prepare for a small performance. Alejandro watched her rehearse from his usual table, reflecting on her remarkable transformation over the past months. Valeria has blossomed beautifully, not only as an artist but as a person, Alejandro remarked to Mariela, who had approached to finalize details for the evening's event. It's astonishing what confidence and a bit of support can achieve. She is a beacon of inspiration for everyone here, Mariela replied, her eyes glistening with pride. That night's performance was yet another triumph, showcasing Valeria's evolving talent and maturity on stage. The audience's enthusiastic applause underscored her growing popularity and the profound impact of her music on the community. After the show, as the crowd dispersed and Harmony closed, Isabel experienced a sharp chest pain similar to previous hospital episodes. It wasn't severe enough for Alejandro or Valeria to notice immediately. Sharing a quiet dinner in the empty restaurant, Valeria expressed her gratitude. "Mom, Alejandro, thank you for being here," for everything she said, her tired smile genuine and warm. "We'll always be here for you, Valeria. We're a family now," Alejandro responded, raising his glass in a silent toast to the future, their newfound family, and the dreams they were nurturing. Days of music and moderate celebrations followed Valeria's successes, but a quiet afternoon brought an unexpected change. Isabel, who had been steadily improving, suddenly felt ill during a visit to Harmony. Initially dismissed as a minor discomfort, it quickly became clear that something was seriously wrong. Isabel's pain intensified, and her breathing grew labored. Recognizing the severity, Alejandro swiftly called for an ambulance. "Mom, what's happening? Are you okay?" Valeria's voice quivered with panic. "Don't worry, sweetheart. I just feel a bit tired," Isabel tried to reassure her, despite her pale face and strained breathing. At the hospital, doctors worked urgently to stabilize Isabel. The diagnosis was devastating: severe complications from her previous illness, necessitating immediate and intensive treatment. Alejandro and Valeria clung to each other in the waiting room, fear and uncertainty hanging heavy around them. The news left them heartbroken, especially Valeria, who had begun to enjoy a promising life. "Why does this have to happen again? She doesn't deserve this," Valeria wept. "Sometimes life tests us in unimaginable ways, but you're not alone. We will face this together and do everything possible for your mom," Alejandro assured her, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Seeing Isabel, weakened but determined to comfort Valeria, filled Alejandro with renewed resolve. The coming weeks would be crucial, and he knew his support was more vital than ever. That night, as they returned from the hospital, an unspoken bond of shared concern and love enveloped them. Isabel's illness underscored life's fragility, reinforcing the importance of family and mutual support during the toughest times. In the following weeks, life revolved around hospital visits, challenging medical decisions, and moments of deep reflection. Valeria, despite her heartache, found solace in music, using her singing to connect with her mother during visits. Alejandro became a steadfast pillar, managing Isabel's treatments and ensuring she had the best care possible. His relationship with Isabel deepened, shaped by shared past and present concerns. One afternoon, after discussing Isabel's treatment with the doctors, Alejandro and Valeria sat in a cafe near the hospital. "Valeria, I've been thinking," Alejandro began gently. "I believe it would be best for your mom to be closer to us, in a homey environment." "Do you mean bringing her to live with us?" Valeria asked, surprised but open to the idea. "Yes. The doctors think it's feasible if we make the necessary arrangements. Being in a familiar setting could benefit both of you," Alejandro explained. Valeria nodded, the idea taking shape in her mind. The thought of having her mother at home, surrounded by love, filled her with hope. "I would love that, Alejandro. Thank you," she said, smiling through her worry. Alejandro promptly set about making his home suitable for Isabel. They adapted a room on the ground floor, equipped it for her care, and arranged regular nurse visits. When the day came to bring Isabel home, Valeria was a mix of nerves and excitement. They settled Isabel in, ensuring her comfort. Isabel, though weak, was visibly uplifted by being in a loving home. Her arrival marked a new chapter filled with love and care. "Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you, Valeria. Being here feels like having a family again," Isabel expressed, her eyes shining with gratitude. Life continued, and although challenging, Isabel's presence brought new moments of joy. Valeria often sang to her, the music a healing balm and a testament to their bond. As Isabel's health stabilized, Valeria focused more on her personal and professional growth. Alejandro arranged for her to participate in a major charity event, giving her a platform to showcase her talent to a broader audience. Although Isabel felt better at home, she expressed her doubts about attending Valeria's concert. "Alejandro, I fear I won't be able to see Valeria sing." Surprised, Alejandro asked, "But you've been feeling well. Why do you think you can't attend? It's important for Valeria to see you there." Isabel explained that the nurse had advised against it due to the risk involved in moving her from home. Alejandro, saddened, accepted Isabel's decision. "Don't worry. I trust Valeria will shine, and she'll carry your spirit in her heart," Isabel reassured him. On the verge of tears, Alejandro hugged Isabel, their embrace rekindling deep-rooted emotions. Determined, he focused on ensuring the concert's success. As the concert approached, Alejandro and Valeria meticulously prepared. Alejandro hired a renowned musician to refine Valeria's technique and stage presence. "This night should be special, not just for the audience but for you to share your story," Alejandro emphasized. Valeria worked tirelessly, determined to make her mother proud. "I'll give my best, Alejandro. I want everyone to feel the music's power," she promised. Though Alejandro knew Isabel wouldn't be there, he stayed strong and said, "It will be." The event arrived, the venue beautifully adorned. The audience included local dignitaries, music lovers, and charity supporters. Valeria, in a stunning dress Alejandro had chosen, felt both nervous and excited. Alejandro, managing the final details, couldn't help but feel the weight of Isabel's absence. As Valeria began to sing, the room fell silent, her voice captivating everyone. She performed songs of hope, struggle, and love, each note resonating with her life's journey. Alejandro, checking the lights, was surprised to see Isabel in the front row, accompanied by her nurse. Overwhelmed, he smiled and teared up, grateful for the moment. At the performance's end, the audience erupted in applause. Valeria saw her mother's tears of joy, and many approached her afterward, moved by her story and talent. Alejandro, watching proudly, felt deeply touched by Valeria's grace and strength. "You did something extraordinary tonight, Valeria. You shared hope and touched many hearts," Alejandro said, hugging her as they joined Isabel for a group hug. That night was a professional triumph and a healing moment for their family, strengthening their bonds. The event's success led to numerous opportunities, and Valeria and Alejandro carefully considered each one. In the living room, surrounded by letters and emails, Alejandro said, "Valeria, we need to choose the best path for you, both as an artist and a person. I want to keep growing, but I don't want to be separated from Mom," Valeria said, her voice reflecting her hopes and fears. Isabel, joining them, said, "Follow your heart, my love. Alejandro and I will always support you." After much reflection, they chose a prestigious music school that offered a scholarship and opportunities to work with renowned musicians, allowing Valeria to stay close to Isabel. "This is the best choice. I can improve and be near Mom," Valeria said, relieved. Alejandro agreed, feeling content with the decision. This school will give you the tools to achieve your dreams. We'll always be here for you, he said, hugging her proudly. Valeria started school, her days filled with practice and new friendships. She always returned home to the loving support of Isabel and Alejandro. Alejandro continued to manage harmony and ensure Isabel's care, their home becoming a haven of love. One night, after a long day, Valeria played a soft melody on the piano with Isabel and Alejandro listening. "Thank you for everything, Alejandro. I couldn't have come this far without you," she said, grateful. Alejandro smiled, feeling fulfilled. "It's my pleasure, Valeria. We're a family, and we'll always support each other." As the music filled the room, they shared a moment of peace and unity, their bond stronger and their future brighter. "It's an honor for me to be part of your life, Valeria. I'm so proud of you and everything you've achieved," Alejandro said, his voice filled with emotion. Isabel, sensing the deep connection between them, smiled warmly and added, "We are a family, and we always will be. No matter what happens, we're in this together." That night, the house was filled not only with music but also with a profound sense of belonging and shared love. Their commitment to each other was reaffirmed, knowing they would move forward together, supporting one another every step of the way. With her music education underway and her family life becoming more stable, Valeria started finding her balance. Yet life had more excitement in store for her. One day, she received an offer to record her first professional song. A producer who had attended the charity event was impressed by her talent and wanted to give her a chance in his studio. "Valeria, this is a significant step for you. Recording a song professionally will not only give you valuable experience but could also open many doors," Alejandro explained, sitting across from her in the kitchen as they reviewed the producer's proposal. "I'm excited, Alejandro, but I'm also a little scared. I've never been in a recording studio before," Valeria admitted, nervously fiddling with a piece of paper. "It's normal to feel that way. The important thing is to prepare and focus on your love for music. Plus, I'll be with you every step of the way," Alejandro reassured her with a supportive smile. The days leading up to the recording session were intense. Valeria practiced tirelessly, working on the chosen song and perfecting every detail. Alejandro and Isabel supported her unconditionally, ensuring she had everything she needed to feel confident and ready. Finally, the day of the recording arrived. The studio was an impressive place, filled with modern equipment and a professional atmosphere that intimidated Valeria at first. The producer, a kind and experienced man named Roberto, greeted her warmly. "Valeria, I've heard a lot about you. I'm excited to work together," said Roberto, giving her a quick tour of the studio. Valeria nodded, feeling her nerves start to surface. But when she stood in front of the microphone and the first notes of the music began to play in her headphones, she found her center. She closed her eyes and let the music guide her. The first take was good but not perfect. Roberto encouraged her to relax and feel the music. Valeria took a deep breath and started again, this time allowing her passion and emotion to flow freely. After several takes, Roberto and his team had enough material to work with. While the technicians adjusted the levels and edited the tracks, Valeria, Alejandro, and Isabel waited in the lounge. "You did an incredible job, Valeria. I'm so proud of you," said Alejandro, hugging her tightly. "Thank you, Alejandro. I couldn't have done it without your support," Valeria responded, her smile wide and genuine. Isabel, watching with pride and emotion, added, "This is just the beginning, my love. Your voice has the power to touch hearts, and I'm sure this song will be a success." Finally, Roberto invited them back into the studio to listen to the preliminary mix. The room filled with Valeria's voice, clear and emotional, accompanied by carefully produced music. It was a beautiful song, full of feeling and authenticity. "Valeria, this is a masterpiece. I'm sure it will have a great impact," said Roberto with a satisfied smile. Valeria, Alejandro, and Isabel left the studio feeling closer than ever, with renewed confidence in what the future held. They knew there were still challenges ahead, but they also knew that together they could face and overcome them. That night, as they returned home, they sat together in the living room, discussing the next steps and celebrating the day's achievement. The music and the love they shared remained at the center of their lives, uniting their hearts and strengthening their determination to move forward, no matter what challenges lay ahead. The weeks following the recording of her first song were a whirlwind of excitement and activity for Valeria. The song was released on digital platforms and received an incredibly positive response. Meanwhile, Isabel continued to recover at home, surrounded by the love and care of Alejandro and Valeria. One day, while Alejandro was working in his office at Harmony, he received a call from Isabel's doctor. The doctor's words were a ray of hope. "Alejandro, I have good news. Isabel's latest tests show significant improvement. Her treatment is working, and we believe she will soon be able to reduce the frequency of her hospital visits." Feeling a weight lift off his shoulders, Alejandro thanked the doctor and hung up the phone with a smile. Immediately, he decided to share the good news with Isabel and Valeria. He arrived home earlier than usual and found Isabel resting in the living room, with Valeria practicing a new song on the piano. "I have wonderful news," Alejandro announced, his voice full of emotion. Valeria stopped playing and looked at Alejandro expectantly, while Isabel sat up a little on the sofa. "The doctor says your latest tests are very good, Isabel. You're improving, and soon you won't need to go to the hospital as often," said Alejandro, approaching them. Isabel and Valeria looked at each other, processing the news. Then Valeria ran to her mother and hugged her tightly, tears of joy streaming down her face. "Mom, I knew you would make it," exclaimed Valeria. Isabel, moved, returned the hug, her eyes filled with gratitude and hope. "Thank you, Alejandro. I couldn't have done it without your support and my daughter's love. This means so much to me," said Isabel, looking at Alejandro with a sincere smile. "We are a family, Isabel, and I'm here for you always," replied Alejandro, hugging them both. They decided this news deserved a special celebration. Alejandro organized a dinner at Harmony, inviting close friends and those who had been an important part of Isabel's recovery and Valeria's success. On the night of the dinner, Harmony was decorated with soft lights and fresh flowers. The atmosphere was one of celebration and joy, with laughter and conversations filling the air. Isabel, looking radiant, was greeted with applause and hugs from everyone present. "Tonight is to celebrate life, family, and the love we share. Isabel, your strength and bravery inspire us all. Valeria, your talent and dedication are an example of what can be achieved with passion and support," said Alejandro, raising his glass in a toast. Everyone joined in the toast, and the dinner continued with music, stories, and moments of reflection on the challenges overcome and the joys shared. After dinner, Valeria took the stage, holding her guitar and looking at her mother and Alejandro. "This song is for my mom and Alejandro. Thank you for your love and for always believing in me," said Valeria, beginning to play a soft and emotional melody. The music filled the restaurant, touching the hearts of everyone present. The night turned into a magical event, full of love, hope, and gratitude for life and second chances. At the end of the night, as guests said their goodbyes, Alejandro, Isabel, and Valeria stayed at Harmony, reflecting on how far they had come together. "We've been through a lot, but we've done it together. I'm grateful for every moment and for what the future holds," said Alejandro, holding Isabel and Valeria's hands. "Me too, Alejandro. Thank you for everything. And Valeria, I'm so proud of you. This is just the beginning of your journey," added Isabel, looking at her daughter with love. "Yes, Mom, and no matter what comes, we'll always be together," replied Valeria, smiling. That night, the family went home with full hearts, and the certainty that no matter the future challenges, their love and unity would be enough to overcome them. The news of Isabel's recovery and Valeria's initial success spread quickly, and soon came an offer Valeria couldn't refuse: a public concert at one of the city's most prestigious theaters. It was a unique opportunity to showcase her talent to a wider audience and solidify her place as a rising star in the music world. The days leading up to the concert were filled with rehearsals, interviews, and meetings with the production team. Alejandro and Isabel took turns accompanying Valeria, ensuring she stayed focused and didn't feel overwhelmed. Finally, the day of the concert arrived. The theater was packed with people, all eager to hear the young prodigy who had captured so many hearts with her story and voice. Alejandro and Isabel sat in the front row, their hearts filled with pride and excitement. "Valeria, tonight is yours. Remember to enjoy every moment," Alejandro told her before she went on stage, giving her a comforting hug. "Yes, dear, we're here with you always," added Isabel, smiling at her daughter. The theater lights dimmed, and the audience fell silent in anticipation. Valeria, dressed in an elegant white gown, walked to the center of the stage under a spotlight. She took a deep breath and began to sing, her voice filling the space with a clarity and emotion that resonated in every corner of the theater. The first song was a moving ballad about hope and overcoming challenges, a perfect choice that instantly connected with the audience. Valeria sang with her soul, conveying each word with a sincerity that touched the hearts of everyone present. After the first song, the audience erupted in applause and cheers. Valeria, emotional and grateful, smiled and thanked everyone. "Thank you for being here tonight. This next song is for my mom and Alejandro, who have been my greatest support and inspiration," she said, dedicating the next melody to her family. Throughout the concert, Valeria performed a mix of classic songs and her own new compositions, each showcasing different aspects of her talent and growth as an artist. The audience's response was overwhelmingly positive, with each song receiving a standing ovation. At the end of the concert, Valeria was called back to the stage for an encore. She decided to end the night with a special song she had written about her journey and the people who had helped her along the way. As she sang, Alejandro and Isabel held hands, their hearts filled with love and gratitude. When the last note faded, the entire theater stood in applause, cheering and clapping enthusiastically. Valeria, with tears of joy in her eyes, took a deep bow and thanked everyone for their support. After the concert, as attendees dispersed, Valeria, Alejandro, and Isabel gathered backstage. Friends, family, and acquaintances approached to congratulate them and express how much they had enjoyed the concert. "You did incredibly well, Valeria. I'm so proud of you," said Alejandro, hugging her tightly. "Thank you, Alejandro. I couldn't have done it without you," and Mom Valeria responded, returning the hug. Isabel, moved, joined the hug. "We're so proud of you, my love. Tonight has been magical," said Isabel, her eyes shining with tears of happiness. The night ended with a small celebration among friends and family, all excited about Valeria's success and the bright future ahead of her. Valeria, surrounded by love and support, felt stronger and more confident than ever, ready to face any challenge and continue pursuing her dreams with determination and passion. The public concert's success had opened many doors. Collaboration offers and performance invitations began to come more frequently. Despite the excitement and the busy schedule, Valeria remained focused on what was most important: her family and her passion for music. One afternoon, Alejandro gathered Valeria and Isabel in the living room. He had something important to discuss with them. "I've been thinking a lot about our future, about everything we've been through together, and what's to come," began Alejandro, looking at Valeria and Isabel with a mix of seriousness and affection. "I want to make sure that no matter what happens, we're always together and supporting each other." Valeria and Isabel looked at each other, curious about Alejandro's solemn tone. "Alejandro, what do you mean?" asked Isabel, her voice soft but filled with interest. "I want to make official what I already feel in my heart. I want us to be a family in every sense. Isabel, Valeria, I would like us to consider formalizing our relationship. I don't just want to be your support, I want to be your family legally," said Alejandro, taking Isabel's hand and then Valeria's. Isabel and Valeria were momentarily speechless, but their eyes shone with emotion and love. "Alejandro, that would mean the world to us. You've been more than a friend, you've been a true pillar in our lives. I would love to formalize our family," responded Isabel, with tears of joy in her eyes. "Yes, Alejandro, you've been like a father to me. I would love for us to be a real family," added Valeria, hugging Alejandro tightly. With the decision made, they began the process for Alejandro to officially adopt Valeria and formalize his relationship with Isabel. The news was received with joy by their friends and family, who organized a small ceremony at Harmony to celebrate the new family. The ceremony was an intimate but emotional event. Alejandro, Isabel, and Valeria exchanged vows of love and commitment, promising to be together in good times and bad. The staff of Harmony, Sergio and Mariela, close friends, and the local community joined in the celebration, toasting to the bright future of the newly formed family. Mariela jokingly said to Sergio, "I told you accepting the girl at the restaurant would be the best decision," to which Sergio quickly took offense, saying, "What are you talking about? It's thanks to me that we're here. I always believed in her." Mariela smiled mischievously, knowing that what they had both done had brought happiness to everyone's lives. Months later, with Isabel recovered and Valeria thriving in her music career, the Morales family found themselves in a place of peace and happiness. Valeria continued her studies and performances, while Alejandro and Isabel enjoyed every moment together, supporting each other in all aspects of their lives. One night, after a successful performance by Valeria at a prestigious music festival, the family gathered on their balcony, enjoying the tranquility of the night. "This is our life now, and I couldn't be more grateful," said Isabel, holding Alejandro's hand. "Yes, we've come a long way, but every step has been worth it," replied Alejandro, looking at Valeria with pride. "And there's still so much more to come. I'm excited for the future and for everything we're going to achieve together," added Valeria, her voice full of determination and joy. The family embraced, enjoying the moment and knowing that no matter the future challenges, they would always be together, supporting and loving each other. Music, love, and unity were the pillars of their lives, and with those elements, they knew they could face anything. What had once been an adventure in the past was now the missing piece in each of their lives. The story of Valeria, Isabel, and Alejandro is a testament to the power of love, resilience, and family. Through their challenges and triumphs, they found an unbreakable strength in their unity, creating a life full of hope, joy, and music. Thank you for joining us in this story. Don't forget to subscribe and comment if you enjoy these kinds of stories. See you next time.